Great to see you again, Albert, and welcome back to Australia. As you have experienced here today, our enthusiasts have a great deal of respect for you and what you achieved in building the N brand and its products. So I'd like to know a little bit more about how we got there. First of all, what sparked your interest in cars?
Yeah, so when I was a young boy, my father, he went to the Nürburgring every year, 2-3 times, to watch car racing, like touring car, Formula One, sports cars, and me, the youngest of 3 brothers, of course, I was joining every time. So, and then my father, he passed away early, I was just 15, but then my brother, he already had a highly tuned BMW 2002 at that time.
Oh, brilliant.
So, and then I was watching his 2002 for weeks that he would take me to the next race at the Nürburgring. And I was also in soccer, playing soccer. But when there was a touring car race at the Nürburgring, I couldn't join the soccer team. I had to go to the Nürburgring, watching the touring car racing. And this is how everything started, with me becoming so excited about touring cars and racing and cars. Yeah.
So that shows the interest about cars. What do you love about cars and driving them?
I think, first of all, I think it's the freedom you can get from a car.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in the countryside, and having a motorbike and then having a car was the most important thing for me. You can go everywhere, and of course, for 1 year I prepared my first car, a Beetle from '63 Volkswagen with a heavy accident, and it took me a year to make it into a rally car.
Really?
And so I put a roll cage in and everything, and then my first drive was to the Nürburgring right away.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was your first drive. What was your first job?
My first job then was in BMW in chassis testing,
Nice.
chassis performance development in '83, and then I had several other jobs, but my home ground, so to say, is chassis.
Yeah, so you started in it early then. Yeah, that's really good. So I imagine you lived at the Nürburgring for a lot of your professional career and have done plenty of laps around the Green Hull. What's it like driving around there?
Yeah, you know, it's you can have different excitement of driving the Nürburgring. When I started driving the Nürburgring for my own pleasure, of course, you do it just a kid having fun on the track. But then you start working as an engineer, and I had my first tuning on the Nordschleife in '84. At that time, there was no industry pool existing.
Okay.
So you drive with tourists.
Yeah, right.
So there's a big bus, 50 people jumping out of a bus in Schwalbenschwanz and blocking the whole road. And you come flying with a BMW 635, and all of a sudden the whole track is packed with 50 people, right?
It's like Group B rallying.
Yeah, it was really funny at that time. And then later, of course, they start the e-pool testing, and then everything becomes very well organized and safer. So, and Nürburgring, I mean, there was times nowadays, okay, you at some point you find a routine, but even like 10 years ago, when I haven't been to Nordschleife for a long time, I do my first lap out, I think my heart rate goes up like at least 30 beats per minute, just being out there again.
That sounds like when I drove the RN22E before my heart rate was growing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So we touched before about, you said you worked on a rally car. Have you done any racing or rallying?
Yeah, so before I went into track racing, I did autocross for like 2 years and a little hill climb. But then for 2 years I did intense track driving with a little touring car, 1.3 liter, 120 horsepower, but very intense. So for 2 years, like I did like 15 or 20 races in the season. As a student. So my wife at that time, she was my girlfriend, and 2 buddies like as a technician. So it was an amateur thing. But yeah, I learned tons of things.
Oh,
you know, not only for the technology and the car and the driving skills, but you know, when you are like 21 and you manage your own race team and you have to book everything, hotels, you need spare parts, you have to do the homologation and everything. It was the best preparation for my job later in BMW, being a testing engineer. When we go testing to Italy or whatever, it was pretty much the same jobs to do than I had to do for my touring car racing.
Yeah.
So it was very helpful for my career.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Apart from the Nürburgring, what's the best track you've driven on?
I mean, going back to my own race driving, I loved Solda racetrack in Belgium. Yeah, the Solda track I loved a lot. I also loved a lot the Inje racetrack in Korea, up in the mountains in the northeast. It's a very nice track. It has ups and downs, very technical. I call it my little Nürburgring. That is also.
I need to come see that one day.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's really worth going there. It's a really, really nice track. And the surroundings in the Korean mountains is just amazing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
A little bit like Nürburgring.
Okay, that's fantastic. Away from the track, where do you enjoy driving the most?
You know, nice country roads or challenging mountain roads. It's just, you know, step away from the traffic. Like when I worked in South Korea, many weekends I get up early in the morning before all the hikers go out to the mountains. My wife and me just going out, and I have a prototype, pre-production car, whatever, and driving the mountain roads through the beautiful landscape in South Korea. It was just amazing. And of course in Germany you also have nice scenery, nice scenic drive. And I discovered in Australia, almost all of Australia is like a scenic drive. You know, it's
You've
amazing.
just been traveling around recently, haven't you?
Yeah, right. But the speed limit is just too crazy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I keep watching always the speeds and everything, and that's a pity. I mean, there's so many nice roads where I can fully enjoy driving the cars.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I've had to grow up with those restrictions, so it makes it very hard. And when you get on track, it makes it so much more rewarding.
Yeah, the track now is the only way to really get the ultimate fun. Yeah, on the road nowadays, you cannot drive like we drove 30 years ago.
No, exactly. What has been your most challenging and your most rewarding projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, I think to make the first N car in a company that didn't make a high performance car before, of course, was very challenging in many aspects, not only from the engineering, but also culturally, with the collaboration between the engineers in HMETC in Germany, to connect them with the Korean engineers, and make it a strong end team and developing new procedures. That was quite challenging, and at the same time, I mean, it was also very rewarding, because you know we found our ways to collaborate smoothly and very effectively. So that was really very, very interesting. And of course I had some crazy like race car projects before in my first part of my career. But this is like too much of stories. We would need too much time.
We don't have enough time
to talk about.
We'll be out of ties.
Maybe later I will write a book about some crazy race car projects. We'll see.
That's incredible. So we got one more lap. What was the biggest priority when developing the i30N?
Yeah, the biggest, highest priority was, of course, it's fun to drive. And also, we couldn't spend a fortune, because the story was clear. We have to find our sweet spot. And that was affordable, substantial, high-performance car. Because there were so many crowded places already in the high-performance business where it's useless to go.
Yeah.
So, but make a very affordable, fun machine that is substantial for track driving and can do track driving in a sustainable way. That was the big challenge, and to get the company behind this. And you know, Hyundai is famous for high quality mass production in huge volume. The last thing they are waiting for is some small volume high performance car where you come up and I need this to change, I need another process here, I need some more welding spots and so on. But you know, the support was just fantastic.
Yeah,
it was just I couldn't believe. So I was thinking we get so many issues with the factory people to accept our requests, but it was really very well and supported, I have to say.
Because it was so supported, it sounds like it was pretty streamlined. But were there any speed bumps along the way?
I mean, there were challenges like crazy. I mean, you know, people got burned before because of like torque steer and things like this. So, and then to make everybody understand that getting a sense for the power you put on the road and torque steer can be something positive, to convince them that this is a feature and not a problem.
Yeah.
have a mechanical handbrake in the car. You know, you always have this marketing salespeople in headquarters. They know it has to be electromechanical. I said, now come on, we need a good workable handbrake in the car. And you have these fights. And I mean, we started with the ELSD development, and it took me really quite some time before I found the confidence. Yes, this will be great. And I will never forget, we were testing in India, and when we got it all together, right? Or when we had a test in Nürburgring, we always had power understeer, and then we found some setup in the kinematic side on the rear axle, basically. I will never forget that lap, or a lap with an i20N and a wet track and engine.
Yeah,
where
really
everybody else was just, forget it. i20N with the Pirelli tires was just unbeatable on the really wet road. It was amazing. Yeah.
That is an incredible car now. I think they're going to bring the show and shine. So we've got a couple more questions to go through. Were you pleased with the reception it achieved from critics and customers alike? This is the i30N and the N brand, really.
Yeah, I mean, of course we are very happy with what happened when we put the first N car out, and of course now it's also a big obligation to us to continue this and keep it alive and growing. And like in Australia, I mean, our sales and marketing team here in Australia, they are doing a fantastic job on the N cars, like no other market on this planet.
I think we're at 5% of sales now.
It's amazing, and also growing this community here of enthusiasts. I mean, it's really very, very strong, and and the way it's supported in the business operation. And so I think here in Australia we changed the brand perception a lot by doing the N cars.
And are you surprised how passionate the owners are in Australia?
Yeah, this is amazing now, coming here and people come to me and we start chatting, and they're all so happy that they can have the i30N or the i20N and then play with them and drive them, the Kona N. They're really very, very thankful that we made these cars for them. Yeah, it sounds to me like they were waiting for this for quite some time. Yeah.
So talking about the future, Hyundai's clearly driving towards electrification, mobility as the future of transport. How important and challenging is it to preserve the fun to drive aspect with electric cars?
Yeah, so this is fundamental for the success of N, to have this emotional driving experience, and we have to bring this into electrification. So if we make an NEV, we have to come really close to the driving fun that an N car delivers today with a combustion engine. And I initiated these developments already some years ago. We started with sound development and with virtual shifting. So we knew that this will not come easy. Yeah. But we started kind of early, and now we try to utilize the things that an EV has and a combustion car cannot have so easily, like the regeneration, to make it playful for the handling and the driving fun. But yeah, like sound, virtual shift, so the involvement of the driver in the EV driving with Ioniq 5N, we want to bring it to a whole new level. Yeah, and I think at this point there's nobody out there that has a really fun machine as an EV.
Yeah, that's going to be incredible and exciting to see, I think, because I think we would say in Australia, you hit the nail on the head, that's exactly what people want out of these cars, and it will definitely persuade people, you know, about the future is fun and exciting, and we keep that excitement in the N brand. Lastly, now that you've officially driven me around the Bend racetrack, what's the one thing that drives you around the Bend?
And driving around the Bend means what drives me crazy.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, so I am really a horrible passenger in a car.
Okay.
So to be a passenger on a track driving, that really drives me crazy.
How did I go as a passenger?
Oh yeah, we went very smooth and easy. So, but I think as a rally driver, you're used to all kinds of crazy driving. But when I have a choice, I always prefer driving and not being the passenger.
Many things we agreed on. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
Thanks
welcome.
for spending the time, and we look forward to you seeing tomorrow. And we're about to go and judge the show and shine now, so we better go.
Yeah, right. Let's look at the fantastic cars of our customers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.